But dear Uncle Jack, for the last year you have been telling us all that you had a brother. You dwelt continually on the subject. Algy merely corroborated your statement. It was noble of him.
Pardon me, Cecily. You are a little too young to understand these matters. To invent anything at all is an act of sheer genius, and in a commercial age like ours, shows considerable physical courage. Few of our modern novelists dare to invent a single thing. It is an open secret that they don't know how to do it. Upon the other hand, to corroborate a falsehood is a distinctly cowardly action. I know it is the thing that the newspapers do for one or the other every day, but it is not the act of a gentleman. No gentleman ever corroborates anything. Upon my word, Jack.
Mr. Worthing, after careful consideration, I have decided entirely to overlook my nephew's conduct to you.
That is very generous of you, Lady Bracknell. My own decision, however, is unalterable. I decline to give my consent.
Come here, sweet child. How old are you, dear?
Well, I'm really only 18, but I always admit to 20 when I go to evening parties.
You are perfectly right in making some slight alteration. Indeed, no woman should ever be quite accurate about her age. It looks so calculating. 18, but admitting to 20 at evening parties. Well, it will not be very long before you are of age and free from the restraints of tutelage. So I don't think your guardian's consent is, after all, a matter of any importance.
Pray excuse me, Lady Bracknell, for interrupting again, but it is only fair to tell you that according to the terms of her grandfather's will, Miss Cardew does not come legally of age till she is 35.
That does not seem to me to be a grave objection. 35 is a very attractive age. London society is full of women of the very highest birth, who have of their own free choice remained 35 for years. Lady Dumbleton is an instance in point. To my own knowledge, she has been 35 ever since she arrived at the age of 40, which was many years ago now. I see no reason why our dear Cecily should not be even still more attractive at the age you mentioned than she is at present. There will be a large accumulation of property.
You are quite sure that I can't marry without your consent until I am 35? That is the wise provision of your grandfather's will, Cecily. He undoubtedly foresaw the sort of difficulty that would be likely to occur. Then Grandpapa must have had a very extraordinary imagination. Algy, could you wait for me till I was 35? Don't speak hastily. It is a very serious question, and much of my future happiness, as well as all of yours, depends on your answer. Of course I would, Cecily. How can you ask me such a question? I could wait forever for you. You know I could. Yes, I felt it instinctively, but I couldn't wait all that time. I hate waiting even 5 minutes for everybody. It always makes me rather cross. I am not punctual myself, I know, but I do like punctuality in others, and waiting even to be married is quite out of the question. Then what is to be done, Cecily? I don't know, Mr. Moncrief.
My dear Mr. Worthing, as Miss Cecily states positively that she cannot wait till she is 35, a remark which I am bound to say seems to me to show somewhat impatient nature, I would beg of you to reconsider your decision.
But my dear Lady Bracknell, the matter is entirely in your hands. The moment you consent to my marriage with Gwendolen, I will most gladly allow your nephew to form an alliance with my ward.
You must be quite aware that what you propose is out of the question.
Then a passionate celibacy is all that any of us can look forward to.
That is not the destiny I propose for Gwendolen. Algernon, of course, can choose for himself. Come, dear, we have already missed 5, if not 6 trains. To miss any more might expose us to comment on the platform.
Enter Dr. Chasuble. Everything is quite ready for the christenings.
The christening, sir, is not that somewhat premature?
Both these gentlemen have expressed a desire for immediate baptism.
At their age, the idea is grotesque and irreligious. Algernon, I forbid you to be baptized. I will not hear of such excess. Lord Bracknell would be highly displeased if he learned that that was the way in which you wasted your time and money.
Am I to understand, then, that there are to be no christenings at all this afternoon? I don't think that, as things are now, it would be of much practical value to either of us, Dr. Chasuble. I am grieved to hear such statements from you, Mr. Worthing. They savour of the heretical views of the Anabaptists, views that I have completely refuted in 4 of my unpublished sermons. Baptismal regeneration is not to be lightly spoken of. Indeed, by the unanimous opinion of the Fathers, baptism is a form of new birth. However, where adults are concerned, compulsory christening, except in the case of savage tribes, is, I regret to say, uncanonical, so I shall return to the church at once. Indeed, I have just been informed by the pew opener that for the last hour and a half Miss Prism has been waiting for me in the vestry.
Miss Prism? Did I hear you mention a Miss Prism?
Yes, Lady Bracknell. I am on my way to join her.
Pray, allow me to detain you for a moment. This matter may prove to be one of vital importance to Lord Bracknell and myself. Is this Miss Prism a female of repellent aspect, remotely connected with education?
She is the most cultivated of ladies, and the very picture of respectability.
It is obviously the same person. May I ask what position she holds in your household?
I am celibate, madam.
Miss Prism, Lady Bracknell has been for the last 3 years Miss Cardew's esteemed governess and valued companion. In spite of what I hear of her, I must see her at once. Let her be sent for.
She approaches. She is nigh. Enter Miss Prism hurriedly. I was told you expected me in the vestry, dear Canon. I have been waiting for you there 1 hour and 3/4. Catches sight of Lady Bracknell, who has fixed her with a stony glare. Miss Prism grows pale and quails. She looks anxiously round, as if desirous to escape.
Prism? Come here, Prism. Prism, where is that baby?
General consternation. The canon starts back in horror. Algernon and Jack pretend to be anxious to shield Cecily and Gwendolen from hearing the details of the terrible public scandal.
20 years ago, Prism, you left Lord Bracknell's house, number 104, Upper Grosvenor Street, in charge of a perambulator that contained a baby of the male sex. You never returned. A few weeks later, through the elaborate investigations of the Metropolitan Police, the perambulator was discovered at midnight, standing by itself in a remote corner of Bayswater. It contained the manuscript of a 3-volume novel of more than usually revolting sentimentality. But the baby was not there. Prism, where is that baby?
Lady Bracknell, I admit with shame that I do not know. I only wish I did. The plain facts of the case are these. On the morning of the day you mention, a day that has forever branded on my memory, I prepared as usual to take the baby out in his perambulator. I had also with me a somewhat old, capacious handbag in which I had intended to place the manuscript of a work of fiction that I had written during my few unoccupied hours. In a moment of mental abstraction for which I never can forgive myself, I deposited the manuscript in the bassinet and placed the baby in the handbag. But where did you deposit the handbag? Do not ask me, Mr. Worthing. Miss Prism, this is a matter of no small importance to me. I insist on knowing where you deposited the handbag that contained that infant. I left it in the cloakroom of one of the larger railway stations in London. What railway station? Victoria, the Brighton line.
I sincerely hope nothing improbable is going to happen. The improbable is always in bad, or at any rate, questionable taste.
I must retire to my room for a moment. This news seems to have upset you, Mr. Worthing. I trust your indisposition is merely temporary. I will be back in a few moments, dear Canon. Gwendolen, wait here for me. If you are not too long, I will wait here for you all my life. Exit Jack in great excitement. What do you think this means, Lady Bracknell?
I dare not even suspect, Dr. Chasuble. I need hardly tell you that in families of high position, strange coincidences are not supposed to occur. They are hardly considered the thing.
Noises heard overhead as if someone was throwing trunks about. Everyone looks up. Uncle Jack seems strangely agitated. Your guardian has a very emotional nature.
This noise is extremely unpleasant. It sounds as if he was having an argument with the furniture. I dislike arguments of any kind. They are always vulgar and often convincing.
It has stopped now. The noise is redoubled.
I wish he would arrive at some conclusion.
This suspense is horrible. I hope it will last. Enter Jack with a handbag of black leather in his hand. Is this the handbag, Miss Prism? Examine it carefully before you speak. The happiness of more than one life depends on your answer. It seems to be mine. Yes, here is the injury it received through the upsetting of a Gower Street omnibus in younger and happier days. Here is the stain on the lining caused by the explosion of a temperance beverage, an incident that occurred in Leamington, and here, on the lock, are my initials. I had forgotten that in an extravagant mood I had had them placed there. The bag is undoubtedly mine. I am delighted to have it so unexpectedly restored to me. It has been a great inconvenience being without it all these years. Miss Prism, more is restored to you than this handbag. I was the baby you placed in it. You? Yes. Mother! Mr. Worthing, I am unmarried. Unmarried. I do not deny that is a serious blow, but after all, who has the right to cast a stone against one who has suffered? Cannot repentance wipe out an act of folly? Why should be there one law for men and another for women? Mother, I forgive you. But, Mr. Worthing, there is some error. Maternity has never been an incident in my life. The suggestion, if it were not made before such a large number of people, would be almost indelicate. There stands the lady who can tell you who you really are. Lady Bracknell, I hate to seem inquisitive, but would you kindly inform me who I am? I am afraid that the news I have to give you will not altogether please you. You are the son of my poor sister, Mrs. Moncrief, and consequently Algernon's elder brother. Algy's elder brother? Then I have a brother after all. I knew I had a brother. I always said I had a brother. Cecily, how could you ever have doubted that I had a brother? Dr. Chasuble, my unfortunate brother. Miss Prism, my unfortunate brother. Gwendolen, my unfortunate brother. Algy, you young scoundrel, you will have to treat me with more respect in the future. You have never behaved to me like a brother in all your life. Well, not till today, old boy, I admit. I did my best, however, though I was out of practice. Darling, darling. Under these strange and unforeseen circumstances, you can kiss your Aunt Augusta. I am dazed with happiness. I hardly know who I am kissing. Algernon takes the opportunity to kiss Cecily. I hope that this will be the last time I shall ever hear you make such an observation. It will, darling. Mr. Worthing, Mr. Moncrief, as I shall call you now, after what has just occurred, I feel it my duty to resign my position in this household. Any inconvenience I may have caused you in your infancy through placing you inadvertently in this handbag, I sincerely apologize for. Don't mention it, dear Miss Prism. Don't mention anything. I am sure I had a very pleasant time in your nice handbag, in spite of the slight damage it received through the overturning of an omnibus in your happier days. As for leaving us, the suggestion is absurd. It is my duty to leave. I have really nothing more to teach dear Cecily. In the difficult accomplishment of getting married, I fear my sweet and clever pupil has far outstripped her teacher. A moment, Letitia. Dr. Chasuble. Letitia, I have come to the conclusion that the primitive church was in error on certain points. Corrupt readings seem to have crept into the texts. I beg to solicit the honor of your hand. Frederick, at the present moment words fail me to express my feelings, but I will forward you, this evening, the 3 last volumes of my diary. In these you will be able to peruse a full account of the sentiments that I have entertained towards you for the last 18 months. Enter Merriman. Lady Bracknell's flyman says he cannot wait any longer. True, I must return to town at once. I see I have now missed no less than 9 trains. There is only one more. Merriman goes out, and Lady Bracknell moves toward the door. Prism, from your last observation to Dr. Chasuble, I learn with regret that you have not yet given up your passion for fiction in 3 volumes. And if you really are going to enter into the state of matrimony, which at your age seems to me, I feel bound to say,
rather like flying in the face of an all-wise Providence. I trust you will be more careful of your husband than you were of your infant charge, and not leave poor Dr. Chasuble lying about at a railway station in handbags or receptacles of any kind. Cloakrooms are notoriously draughty places. Dr. Chasuble, you have my sincere good wishes, and if baptism be, as you say it is, a form of new birth, I would strongly advise you to have Miss Prism baptized without delay. To be born again would be of considerable advantage to her. Whether such a procedure be in accordance with the practice of the primitive church, I do not know, but it is hardly probable, I should fancy, that they had to grapple with such extremely advanced problems. Sweet child, we expect you at Upper Grosvenor Street in a few days.
Thank you, Aunt Augusta.
Come, Gwendolen.
My own. But what own are you? What is your Christian name, now that you have become someone else? Good heavens, I had quite forgotten that point. Your decision on the subject of my name is irrevocable, I suppose. I never change except in my affections. What a noble nature you have, Gwendolen. Then the question had better be cleared up at once. Aunt Augusta, a moment. At the time when Miss Prism left me in the handbag, had I been christened already? Pray be calm, Aunt Augusta. This is a terrible crisis, and much depends on your answer.
Every luxury that money could buy, including christening, had been lavished on you by your fond and doting parents.
Then I was christened. That is settled. Now, what name was I given? Let me know the worst.
Being the eldest son, you were naturally christened after your father.
Yes, but what was my father's Christian name? Pray don't be so calm, Aunt Augusta. This is a terrible crisis, and everything hangs on the nature of your reply. What was my father's Christian name?
I cannot at the present moment recall what the General's Christian name was. Your poor dear mother always addressed him as General. That I remember perfectly. Indeed, I don't think she would have dared to have called him by his Christian name, but I have no doubt he had one. He was violent in his manner, but there was nothing eccentric about him in any way. That was rather the result of the Indian climate, and marriage, and indigestion, and other things of that kind. In fact, he was rather a martinet about the little details of daily life. Too much so, I used to tell my sister.
Elgie, can't you recollect what our father's Christian name was?
My dear boy, we were never even on speaking terms. He died before I was a year old.
His name would appear at the army list of the period, I suppose, Aunt Augusta?
The General was essentially a man of peace, except in his domestic life, but I have no doubt his name would appear in any military directory.
The army lists for the last 40 years are here. Here, Dr. Chasuble, Miss Prism, 2 for you. Cecily, the army list. Make a précis of it at once. Algernon, pray search English history for our father's Christian name, if you have the smallest filial affection left. Aunt Augusta, I beg you to bring your masculine mind to bear on this subject. Gwendolen, no, it would agitate you too much. Leave these researches to less philosophic natures like ours. Give me 6 copies of any period, this century or the last, I do not care which. Noble girl, here are a dozen. More might be an inconvenience to you. No, just let me look. No, allow me, dear. Darling, I think I can find it out sooner. Just allow me, my love.
What station, Mr. Moncrief, did you say you wish to go to?
Station? Who on earth is talking about a station? I merely want to find out my father's Christian name.
But you have handed me a Bradshaw. Of 1869, I observe. A book of considerable antiquarian interest, but not in any way bearing on the question of the names usually conferred on generals at baptism.
I am so sorry, Uncle Jack, but generals don't seem to be even alluded to in the history of our own times, although it is the best edition, the one written in collaboration with the typewriting machine.
To me, Mr. Moncrief, you have given 2 copies of the price lists of the civil service stores. I do not find generals marked anywhere. There seems to be either no demand or no supply.
This treatise, the Green Carnation, as I see it is called, seems to be a book about the culture of exotics. It contains no reference to generals in it. It seems a morbid and middle-class affair.
Good heavens! And what nonsense are you reading, Algy?
The Army List? Well, I don't suppose you knew it was the Army List. And you have got it open at the wrong page. Besides, that is the thing staring you in the face. Generals. Malam. What ghastly names they have. Markby, Migsby, Mobbs, Moncrief. Moncrief! Lieutenant, 1840. Captain, Lieutenant Colonel, Colonel, General, 1860. Christian names, Earnest John. I always told you, Gwendolen, my name was Ernest, didn't I? Well, it is Ernest after all. I mean, it naturally is Ernest. Yes, I remember now that the general was called Ernest. I knew I had some particular reason for disliking the name. Come, Gwendolen. Ernest, my own Ernest. I felt from the first time that you could have no other name. Gwendolen, it is a terrible thing for a man to find out suddenly that all his life he has been speaking nothing but the truth. Can you forgive me? I can, for I fear that you are sure to change. My own one.
Letitia!
Frederick, at last!
Cecily, at last!
Gwendolen, at last! I have missed the last train. My nephew, you seem to be displaying signs of triviality. On the contrary, Aunt Augusta, I have now realized for the first time in my life the vital importance of being earnest. Tableau. Curtain. Okay, at this point I've read the entire works of Oscar Wilde on YouTube except for one play, and that's Salome. And that's because this whole project has been building up to Salome. But I'm not going to read it live. I'm actually making an audio-visual presentation of it. I'm making like drawings, and I'm going to make it with drawings and everything. So watch out for that. That'll be coming up. But tomorrow we're going to look at the poetry of Lord Alfred Douglas Bosie, who was Oscar Wilde's lover. Okay, we're gonna get his poetry tomorrow around this time, and I'll see you then. And oh yeah, check the description for where to buy my art and my channel page if you want to support my work with a one-time donation. All right, see you later.